Israel and the United Arab Emirates will be signing a historic peace deal to normalize relations between the two countries, and that is our top focus on Dispatch this evening. The deal will make UAE the third Arab nation after Egypt and Jordan to have diplomatic ties with Israel. Once the deal is signed, both countries are expected to exchange embassies and begin talks that will cover a wide range of issues, including tourism, investment, healthcare, energy and cultural exchange. The deal is also expected to make the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem more accessible to Muslims around the world. The most crucial aspect of the agreement is the suspension of Israel's West Bank annexation plan. It is important to note that Israel has not abandoned the plan altogether. It has merely been deferred for the time being. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu made it very clear that Israel will continue to claim sovereignty over parts of the West Bank. US President Donald Trump played a crucial role in this peace deal. He mediated talks between the two sides and ultimately sealed the deal in a phone call. With Prime Minister Netanyahu and UAE Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Trump expects both leaders to travel to Washington within 3 weeks to sign the deal.
I told you that 3-4 days ago, but we never had a chance because you never asked me the question. Now, I haven't taken that other than... This is a truly historic moment. Not since the Israel-Jordan peace treaty was signed more than 25 years ago has so much progress been made towards peace in the Middle East. By uniting two of America's closest and most capable partners in the region, something which said could not be done, this deal is a significant step towards building a more peaceful, secure, and prosperous Middle East. Now that the ice has been broken, I expect more Arab and Muslim countries will follow the United Arab Emirates lead. Let us try and basically deal with the current threat towards a two-state solution, negotiations for a two-state solution. And the current threat is really this annexation of Palestinian territories. So this is how the idea began. And the idea was very clear that Israel will commit in a 3-way phone call with the United States to stopping annexation, suspending it.
For Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the deal is a major victory at a time when public mood has shifted against him. Netanyahu has struck a perfect balancing act by keeping the annexation plans alive and establishing new ties with the Arab world. The Prime Minister described the deal as the beginning of a new era.
Well, today we usher in a new era of peace between Israel and the Arab world. I just came from an historic virtual conference between myself, President Donald Trump, and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed of the United Arab Emirates. We announced the establishment of a full and formal peace between Israel and the UAE. It includes the mutual opening of embassies, direct flights, and many, many other bilateral agreements. This is the greatest advancements toward peace between Israel and the Arab world in the last 26 years, and it marks the third formal peace between Israel and an Arab nation.
To give us a sense of perspective on the latest developments, I'm joined in by our guest Arsen Ostrowski, who's an international human rights lawyer and an expert on West Asia affairs. He joins me live from Tel Aviv at this hour. A very warm welcome to you, Arsen. Let me begin by asking, from the issue of Palestine to Iran, how do you expect the agreement to reshape the politics in West Asia?
Look, I think it'll have a tremendous influence on the region. This truly is a historic occasion. As you noted in your introduction, it is Israel's only third peace agreement with an Arab country in 25 years, and the first agreement with a Gulf country, which is truly a historic occasion. It also represents an enormous diplomatic success and victory for President Trump, who was the key to brokering this agreement between the parties. What it does is, I think it underscores in terms of the immediate region that Israel is here to stay, and that is a significant, I suppose, acknowledgement by the Arab and Gulf nations, led by the UAE, and as we're hearing now in the coming news, also Oman and Bahrain are to follow very shortly as well.
Since you mentioned the significance for Israel in this agreement, how will the deal impact Netanyahu and his annexation plans? Also, will other Gulf countries now follow a similar path with Israel?
Well, to answer the second part of your question, yes, absolutely. We're already hearing from Oman and Bahrain to other leading countries in the Gulf who have expressed wide support and endorsement of this move and are widely expected to follow very shortly. What this deal
to be deferred is something we'll have to wait and watch. Also, Arsen, under the current developments, how relevant is the Palestinian cause to Gulf nations now?
Very little, actually. What this has shown is that Arab and Gulf countries are prepared to fully normalize ties with Israel, and the UAE agreement provides for full normalization, from opening of embassies to direct flights to technological innovation, bilateral agreements. So what it shows is that Israel and the Arab and the Gulf community can advance full normalization irrespective of the Palestinian issue. What it does solidify, I believe, is that at the end of the day, we have seen also from the Gulf community and from the Arab community that they are getting frustrated with the Palestinians, frustrated with the petulance and intransigence and refusal to advance the peace process. Regrettably, this is a great advancement for the region, for all the people and all the communities of the region, including the Palestinian people, by the way.
Right.
But regrettably, yet again, the Palestinians have come out and, they've rejected this entirely, showing up once again that they regrettably never miss an opportunity, which is quite unfortunate and very sad.
All right, Arsen, I'd like you to conclude by talking about Donald Trump. Will the American voter care about relations normalizing between Israel and UAE?
Look, I don't believe it will make a dramatic difference. The American election will revolve around domestic issues primarily. That said, it will make a difference because it does provide President Trump with an important diplomatic success. It shows that he can make a difference in the Middle East when other presidents and other leaders have not been able to. It is showing that the maximum pressure on Iran is making a difference. So whilst I don't believe it will alter the outcome of the presidential election, it will certainly aid and benefit him, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and it is certainly going to be history in the making once this peace deal is signed. For now, thank you so much, Arsen, for joining us on this broadcast.